Hey there, Product Hunt. Super excited to be here and launching Cadrelo on PH. Finally, really wanted to give you a quick tour of Cadrelo and take you through what we're all about. Cadrelo is essentially a platform that empowers every individual to contribute meaningfully, regardless of their role or experience. Whether it's day one or beyond, everyone can immediately find their place and understand their role within the team. So let's get right to it. One of the first problems that we solve for teams is the ability to set goals that aren't buried behind PowerPoint spreadsheets or personal files. You'll never feel directionless or like you don't know what you're working on next. Our platform ensures that goals are accessible to all and open for contribution. In turn, everyone gains a really clear sense of the direction and insight in how they fit into the bigger picture. You can see all these goals listed here. You have statuses against them and how they're tracking. Setting up these goals is super easy, takes less than a couple of seconds. You effectively, let's have a look at this one that's been done. Adding new tasks is also straightforward. So let's just add this demo task in here. You'll see how these come into play later. You can assign tasks straight away to users if you're planning or want to basically add them to people who have particular strengths, or leave them unassigned for allocation later. It's really that straightforward. All right, so let's have a look at how this plays out. So the next problem we try to eliminate on this platform is those pesky chat threads and endless email chains, or those status meetings that suck out the energy out of the room. You really won't need those anymore unless you kind of want to talk about things that are actually important for your team. On the Cadrelo Daily Sync, users will effectively just pick up tasks and update their daily focus. Just by planning their daily activities, adding tasks, completing them, or inviting support and feedback, as you'll see here, like this task has been labeled as a discussion point. You can change that to feedback or, highlight it as a blocker. You'll just as a byproduct be informing your team what you're working on, relaying that to them, and collaborating seamlessly with them, and staying in sync with each other. There's absolutely zero learning curve here. It's a simple checklist that's on steroids. So just to kind of connect all of these things to the overall goals and where your team might be heading, you'll see here that I've got access to a personal backlog. Well, I can't forget to walk Max at lunch, and let's say I've done that. Boom, there we go. But that task that I assigned earlier to Catherine Fox that you might have noticed is now in my personal backlog because it's been shifted my way, and I can easily put that into my daily focus. The other cool thing is that we can actually start tracking time. As soon as I start tracking time, it'll start, like counting that up. It also feeds all of this effort up at that goal level. So it really gives clear insights into the resource allocation and team effort behind each initiative. It's super useful for any kind of compliance submissions or tax related purposes. We know this because you've told us. And that's because you love using spreadsheets so much when it's time to do this. So it's super simple, as you can see, and I can never run out of things to do or, kind of pick up when it's my turn to look for the next task to be working on. Awesome. So that's daily syncs. And as you can see, I can see what other people are doing as well. Interact, really create a culture of celebration and kind of give feedback and interact with others without having to go through a million chat threads or, find things. It's all there in one place. So now that you've seen me create like really simple goals that can unify teams and steer them towards a common outcome, and teams effectively collaborating without putting in too much effort to stay in sync just by planning out their day, which they're probably doing across many different platforms or notes or whatever they might be doing anyway, you still might be saying, well, okay, well, what's the big deal? And this is probably one thing that we're super proud of, is that when you start kind of, using this type of, or creating this accessibility through Cadrelo and openness, you really start to create some operational transparency. You won't need any fancy engineers or custom kind of reports being built by consultants to understand exactly where your company's tracking, because you can easily keep your finger on the pulse up here by focusing on zooming in on a specific team. So if you can see exactly what the engineering team is working on, or a particular goal or a mixture of both, and you can see exactly what cross-functional team is working on which tasks they're completing out of this particular goal that we're working on that has this label, and you can easily kind of zoom in and get absolute insights from a single snapshot in a single place. So again, you can zoom right in on particular goals or tasks or individuals, or kind of see exactly what the whole company is working on at scale. And this is very hard to do in some of the more complex project management platforms. Excellent. So now that I've shown you all of those parts, finally we kind of like focus in on the other part of work, which is creating meaningful connections and bonds between team members. We think work is more than just mere titles and roles that people fulfill. People really crave that connection and meaningful interaction. So I'd like you to introduce you to Dre, your digital Chief Engagement Officer. Dre's role is really, through a number of different features, is to interact with you, potentially suggest individual and team well-being strategies based on what's happening here. Dre is also involved in kind of providing the team with some social experiences in your daily sync, facilitating these team health checks and pulses that teams can interact around, providing some of these kind of social aspects in which, for example, in this demo space today, Dre suggested that we should have a messy desk competition with a photo and see who's got the messiest desk, which might add a bit of buzz and energy to the whole experience. The other way Dre interacts is by kind of looking at some of the details we have here around the team top interest. We have a really visual and beautiful team directory in which you can look at, how you kind of might mesh with particular people that might be working in completely different time zones. We absolutely do all the time zone conversions, look at specific work preferences, their background and experience. Dre will highlight any common interests you might have with particular people, and your contribution styles and how your work orientations or preferences and how you might work together with them to get the best outcome in particular ways. So we really think this is important to whether your team members are brand new and onboarding and trying to meet the team or understand more about them, or seasoned employees that might want to get to know their team members and build, connections with each other at a deeper level. So that's a really kind of high level overview of the platform. There's lots more in here, and we have plans to do other things as well. Really thank you for your time, and would love to get any feedback or for you to jump in and give it a trial. So let us know what you think, and it was great having you with us and going through the platform with us.